The single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which doctors say is a big game changer, will soon be delivered to Alabama. Now work is underway to get the doses into the arms of thousands of people. Our Kenesha Dees has more details on what to expect in the coming days.
A single dose will be very helpful because it will decrease the amount of manpower that is required to give two-dose vaccine.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine offering 72% effectiveness with just a single dose. Alabama is expected to receive just more than 40,000 doses to be administered to people in phases 1A and 1B.
Not changed our phases yet, given this relatively small amount of vaccine, but we're still very happy to have these additional doses in the state of Alabama for persons to be vaccinated.
The Alabama Department of Public Health says those doses will go to vaccine providers who haven't received any yet. So far, about 1,000 vaccine providers have been approved in the state.
Most reasonable way to utilize this is likely to have additional providers to receive the vaccine, providers that have not had vaccine before.
Public health officials say although more people are vaccinated, it's important to continue following CDC guidelines as we now face variants of the virus. So far, at least 35 people are reported to have been infected with the UK variant in Alabama. The CDC recently published recommendations for wearing layered masks to slow the spread.
They were really focusing on multiple ways to improve the quality of the mask as well as ensure the consistency of wearing the mask.
And the Alabama Department of Public Health says they will receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine this week. As far as exactly when this week, they're still waiting to find out. Putting the Valley first, Kenesha Dees, WZDX News.